President's Day, FFA week, and a not-so-high-speed chase made all the agriculture headlines this week.
We have those stories and more coming up on Friday 5, brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
President's Day was celebrated Monday, and we'd like to recognize a few agriculturalists who later became the Commander-in-Chief.
Now, many people know that George Washington was known as an agriculturist, but maybe you didn't know this. He raised hogs, cattle, sheep, chickens, turkeys, and even bees.
Thomas Jefferson and Jimmy Carter were peanut farmers, and Teddy Roosevelt and Lyndon B. Johnson were cattle ranchers.
President's Day also means this week was National FFA Week.
FFA Week is always held the week of George Washington's birthday to celebrate his contributions to American agriculture. Fun fact, if you didn't already know about the FFA organization, every FFA treasurer is stationed by the emblem of President Washington.
On Tuesday, Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts officially proclaimed it FFA Week in Nebraska. It even trended on Twitter. So as we were surfing through Twitter, we found a few FFA chapters across the state taking part in the celebration.
Now let's go to Susan Littlefield, who has been in Kearney this week for Nebraska Cattlemen's Classic.
Thanks, Hannah and Alex. It is the 28th annual Nebraska Cattlemen's Classic taking place at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds, and weather did not stop folks from making it not only to the shows but the sales every afternoon. As we wrap up those sales later today, heifers have been bringing on average about $2,600, and bulls have been about that same price, but that's looking across all the breeds, with more sales yet to come this afternoon and all the youth events this weekend. I'll send it back to you guys in Lincoln.
Thanks, Susan. Well, watermelons took a victory lap at NASCAR's Daytona 500 last weekend. Well, kind of.
Florida watermelon farmer Ross Chastain finished in the top 10 at the Daytona 500.
Chastain impressed a sponsor with his farm work ethic, as many of us can relate, and that landed him a career as a racer. So now he leaves the heavy lifting on his family's watermelon farm to his dad and his brother as he races his watermelon car.
Well, finally this week, speaking of races, I think this is my favorite story. Grand Island police officers were off to the races with a steer.
This video was captured by a Grand Island resident Monday, and if we had to guess, he probably was not expecting this on his commute.
It was reported that the steer escaped from the JBS beef plant. Eventually, it went to a detention area where it was put down and picked up by a rendering plant. We'll be back next week for another episode of Friday 5 presented by the Nebraska Corn Board.
This is Mike. Mike likes his car. Mike likes to save money. And Mike likes to breathe. So Mike fills up with E15 with 15% American ethanol. The clean octane in E15 gives Mike the performance he wants from his engine and the clean air he wants for his family. Better yet, E15 costs less at the pump. Higher octane, cleaner air, lower cost. E15 sure gives Mike a lot to like. Discover E15 with American ethanol.